little bit of a personal update video, but I think it might also be helpful for anyone if you're in the same situation or not, and maybe just the perspective helps. But my prayer stinks right now. I've just been in like a spiritual rut for like at least a month, where usually, I mean, you see me in these videos, I'm just fired up for preaching the gospel, and I make this media stuff, and I work in ministry, but like the bedrock of that is just devout, regular life of prayer, like going to mass, Catholic mass every day, and having a holy hour, an hour of just personal prayer with God as a part of my daily routine every single day. And just that time recently, in the past like month or so, there's been more often than not, just like really unfocused and uninspired and just like lacking clarity. And oftentimes I'm just like really restless or like really tired or something. And there's been a lot of days where I'm just not even interested in going to pray because it's just been not good recently. It's been one of like kind of the driest and most desolate and really most frustrating seasons of prayer that I've had in a long time. And so just to state that as a matter of fact, that's where I've been. And it is really frustrating. It's been sort of discouraging for a while. It's getting more discouraging. But the reason I guess why I wanted to make this video is not just to give that personal update, but just to say and to note why that I'm still praying. Like in the midst of prayer that has just not felt good. And there's often days where I kind of just don't really want to, because it's been so unfocused and like so uninspiring often. Still going every day, have been going to daily mass and still had my daily holy hour every day. Why? What I think that says, like, this is a matter of faith. Now, faith is more than feelings. Faith has much more to do than whether or not it is going to inspire me or encourage me or make me feel good. And faith is also more than just like obligation. And faith practices are more than just some matter of obligation and doing this out of fear of penalty or doing this to gain some brownie points. Because right now, in terms of feelings, it hasn't felt great. But also in terms of like some amount of sense of obligation or getting points, like I don't feel like I'm really getting much out of the time. There's been so many days where I have just showed up and it hasn't been really focused, and there may not even be much prayer going on, and maybe I'm just there. Because what this says about faith in like time spent in prayer is that this is a relationship with a real person. Like, this is not just I would not just keep showing up if it was a matter of, just checking off boxes and just fulfilling an obligation or just making sure that I don't get penalized for missing a day or something. It's because I love a person, the God of the universe. I love Jesus Christ, and I'm in a committed relationship with him. And in the context of like a committed relationship, like if you're really pursuing, like you're married to someone, it doesn't matter if you feel good someday or not. And maybe there's even a day or a week or weeks or a month where things feel kind of off. We're going to address those things. We're going to bring those things to each other and talk about them. And that's what I've been doing in prayer is like, Lord, I don't know what's going on. And I feel kind of frustrated with this, and I feel kind of distant, and it feels really dry and unconsoling, and I'm kind of discouraged. But I'm not just going to not talk about those things and become distant from the person who I'm in a committed relationship with. We're going to stay together, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to see it through together, because that's what love does. And love is not just a matter of fulfilling obligations and just showing up for the sake of showing up. I'm showing up because I still love God, even when it doesn't feel great, even when I'm a little bit discouraged, even when I'm frustrated and confused about the fact that prayer feels really unfocused and dry and uninspired. I'm still convinced that the one that I love is present to me and still loves me. And even when I don't feel like it, I still choose to love him. That Jesus Christ will always be present even when it doesn't seem like like the idea of prayer is that we are gifted consolations. That we're not entitled to good feelings in prayer, because prayer is not just about good feelings. It's a lived relationship, and it's communion of love with a person of Jesus Christ. So it's not always going to feel incredible. And it's not always going to be just like the most inspiring thing. Sometimes it's just going to be showing up. And of course, I'm saying all this stuff, and I'm trying to convince myself of it too, and just like showing up every day. And often I feel the self-doubt, and I hear those lies and that doubt of like, maybe God's distant. Maybe God doesn't love you the way that he did before. Maybe you did something wrong, or all of these different things. And I don't know why it has been the case that prayer has been more dry, or that I feel uninspired, or I feel often days that I don't want to show up. But the thing that I do know is that God is real, and that he has blessed me, and he has chosen me, and he is for me still. So I'm going to keep showing up every day because this is a committed relationship, and I've said yes to this. And that's what love does. Love chooses even when it's hard. Love chooses when it doesn't make sense sometimes. So I think there's value in just showing up, because eventually there will be days where it feels good. Like yesterday, I had a pretty decent day in prayer, and hopefully there's more of those. But even if there's not, even if prayer isn't consoling, even if I'm just kind of frustrated and discouraged and confused about why it's so dry, or why I'm so just restless in prayer sometimes, I'm not going to stop showing up, because this is what love does.